First the ambulance, then the hearse and the curtains come. Smoking cheaper, watching Carmelo dunk on them. Potent reefer, 4 stacks for a pound of bubble gum. Jordan sneakers with a clip pointing a humble son. Cocaine, she snooping lines off of Jumbotron. Ride foreigns, legs hanging off the mirror. Cop condoms with phantom.
Those guys fought for us when it was okay to be racist.
Yeah, man.
When the news was coming out being racist towards us just because we had our own form of music. Those guys were in the fucking front lines. I'm sorry to cuss.
Nah, do you?
You know what I'm saying? Those guys were in the front lines, bro. So for y'all little dummies that's getting your little checks and thinking you got clout right now, the only reason you got that is because people stepped up when the fire was on. Right now, the fire ain't even on. They embrace you, bro. I come from days where they didn't embrace us. We had to fight to be embraced. Tupac had to be damn near crucified to be embraced. Big had to die. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is a real game. This is a real industry. When I hear dudes say, "Oh, I'm not a gangster rapper. Oh, I could call the police if I want." No, you can't. Because this shit came out to tell the police, fuck you.
That's what cool rappers do, right? I gotta be cool to say fuck the police. That's cool, right? Yeah, there's certain cops. Fuck the police. There's a lot of good cops. And you know what? I didn't feel like taking on 20 people when I didn't have no security. So I don't know if you're saying, oh, he a pussy, not hard. I'm not a gang rapper. I don't rap about gang shit. I don't rap about selling drugs and shooting guns. So miss me with that, oh, he a pussy. Like, guess what? Guess what? When someone break into your house, who the first person you gonna call? The cops, you dumb motherfuckers.
A great song. Great song. God's Plan is super dope. Drake's big influence. Love him. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I smoked a lot of weed. 8. 2.
First by mistake. I told you. I fucking told you. You Pac fans always talking that talk.
Shut a ball.
Shut a ball.
Shut a ball.
Came in there, popped himself in the leg. Popped himself first. That's what happened.
I said pop mistake with question mark.
No, listen. We're keeping it a G today. You know why? Because at the studio, he knew who approached him. He had to steal on him because he knew he had an issue out there. And when he got there, they was just going to take his jewelry. They didn't even touch him. He panicked, pulled out the steel, shot himself.
You hurting hard, that's that was our dude. We was rocking with him heavy.
Absolutely. Was rocking with him heavy. Everybody loved him. He let him twist, let the shit.
It was behind some negative shit, but I turned it into a positive. Now, if they let it be turned into a negative, they basically saying fuck their kids. Literally. And I'm not trying that I fucking hate how manipulative that sounds, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
What I was going to ask you is that, and you started to touch on it.
And you know somebody gonna try and take these words and twist them and screw them, but you know I don't give a fuck. Because you know the kids gonna take their time and they're gonna go over everything and see what I was saying because it's the truth. Because I get 1,000 messages a million to 1,000 messages every day of these kids saying you are the only reason I hang on.
Beyond music, does your art, you're an artist, does your art, will it go elsewhere? Will it go to, like, for example, with Tupac, his art was more than music. We saw him, he was a writer, he was a poet.
I've been that. Nigga, bro, I'm better than Tupac, bro. Please don't compare me to him. Please don't compare me to him. Please don't. Tupac can't make rap music. I mean, rock music. Tupac can't do that.
Wait,
Tupac couldn't do that.
hold on.
Tupac didn't do that. Tupac was a dancer and a poet and a rapper.
But he was a revolutionary too, and a
I
leader
don't
of
give
men.
a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. There's plenty of revolutionaries. What about Joyner Lucas? He a fucking revolutionary. He's telling the truth. Go listen to I'm Not Racist by Joyner Lucas. That's a cosign right there. Go listen to Joyner Lucas. I'm not racist. That's a revolution, nigga. All right. What would they riot about, nigga? It's that racist shit. That's what everybody be so fucked up.
What's going on, y'all? Kush Martin. And yeah, in this video I want to touch on a number of things that's been going on in hip hop revolving around Tupac Shakur. Recently we've been bombarded with blatant disrespect for Tupac Shakur, you know, which I believe is very peculiar in my eyes, because Tupac, since his untimely demise, was considered one of the most prominent hip-hop artists to ever walk this earth. I mean, the likes of Puff Daddy, Snoop Dogg, Nas, Biggie Smalls, a number of artists who were well respected gave credence to this man. So to fast forward to 2017, 2018, and now we have people like Funkmaster Flex disrespecting Tupac, calling him Cheddar Bob and Little Xan, you know, upcoming artist O3 Greedo. I think Ebro and Rosenberg kind of took some slight shots at him. You know, and at first I thought, okay, these are young guys. They wasn't around during during the Tupac era. And, you know, maybe they just don't relate to him the way maybe somebody that grew up in the 90s era, or, you know, somebody that is a little bit more parallel to that lifestyle, you know. But then I thought about it. I'm like, Ebro and Funk Flex and, you know, some of these guys, Whack 100, to my belief, some of these guys were born during that time period, you know, and it's just odd to me that so much of them had so much negativity towards Pac. You know, with Tupac, what he stood for, just the fact that he stood for something that was way big, much bigger than him himself, you know, you would think it'd just be a little bit more respect there. And in my humble opinion, in my honest opinion, I think they're paying these people to slander this man. That's just my humble opinion. I think they're paying these people to slander this man because they don't want to introduce Tupac to this new generation. Because I think if they really knew what Tupac's message was, it could change the zeitgeist of a lot of these kids that are growing up. A lot of these kids, they're growing up, they're looking up to Little Xan and what's the other guy, you know? And I actually like Tekashi 6ix9ine, which I'm gonna make a video about that young man too. I really like that guy. I really love him, you know. But you know, they're looking up to these guys, and these artists, they don't have music of substance, and that's just my opinion. They're promoting drug abuse, you know, and death, you know. So, you know, Tupac, you know, it was more of a method to his madness, you know. And even in the movie All Eyes on Me, and no disrespect to L.T. Hutton and Hype Williams directed one of my favorite films. But even in that movie, if I'm a young child and I'm growing up and I watch that movie, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this guy Tupac was like a very angry young man. He was a very angry young man that had a harsh life and died before his time, it seemed. You know, it didn't really depict why we loved Tupac, you know. And now they have this new series out. It's called Unsolved. And they got this guy that's playing Tupac. I mean, the guy looks like, I mean, at least in All Eyes on Me, that guy, whoever played, I think his name is Demetrius Shipp, that dude looked just like Pac. Like, big, like, homie, you might want to holler at your father, like, yo, maybe Mom Dukes will swirl, you know what I'm saying? You might want to holler at your pops. Tupac might be your father, because you played the hell out of that role, and you looked like him. Shout out to him. But now they got this new guy. He looked like Malik Yoba. He looked like Malik Yoba. They got him in the library while he's incarcerated. It looks like he's upstate. He's incarcerated. He's reading a book. I don't know why the guy pressed him. I just watched the trailer. I didn't. Maybe I should give it a try, but I didn't even give it a chance. And then he gets into a fight with the guy. The officer breaks it up. Tupac's like, he started it, like a little kid. I'm just like, yo, they just determined to shit on this guy, you know? I'm like, that don't even sound like something Tupac would say. He started it. You know what I'm saying? This shit is nuts, man. I really think there is an agenda. I'm really starting to believe, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I'm starting to believe there's some type of agenda to kind of stigmatize his legacy, you know, for lack of a better term. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. Because, you know, why now? Why all of a sudden now is, oh, Pac was a sucker and Pac was this, Pac was that? I'm like, none of these guys was saying that while he was alive, you know? And that's not the shit on them, but you can't pull up no clips with these guys saying what they're saying, you know? But, I mean, to each his own. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, you know? And, you know, Tupac's mentality, he had the mentality, you know, I'm going to give you the money, cars, clothes, hoes, because I know that's what you want. But, yeah, I'm going to give you what you need, too. I'm going to give you California love, you know? But I'm also going to give you Wonder Why You Call You Bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm also going to give you, you know, Keep Your Head Up. I'm also going to give you Brenda's Got a Baby, you know? So he gave you that healthy balance of music, man. You know, that ma'at, you know, that I think is missing now. You know, now you got songs, you got albums now, and the whole album is just about getting brain and doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? You know, but Tupac to me was a method to his madness. So I compiled these clips together, and this is who I feel Tupac was. Tupac was bigger than the brand himself. The name himself was his ideas and what he wanted to do with his life. At a 24, this guy was only 24, 25 years old, man. You know what I'm saying? You think about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. These guys were in their late 30s when they, you know, really came into their, you know, into who they really were as people. This guy still was a kid, him and Biggie Smalls. So I compiled these clips together. Check them out. Kush Martin, I'm Ghost.
Do you think the Black Panthers were successful? Do you think that they were wiped out by the government? Or how do you view the situation?
I think that they were successful because they bred me. Mm-hmm. You know, I believe myself to be the offspring of the Black Panthers, mm-hmm. You know, because I see and I learned from what they had. You know, they got get in by the media, their love for cameras, mm-hmm. and an extremely sinister government, and they just happen to be born in the same time as a motherfucker named J. Edgar Hoover, a homosexual with a big problem. You know what I'm saying? A big problem. So they just was his victims. You know what I'm saying? But what they don't know is that if they would have let the Panthers continue to do what they was going to do, it wouldn't have been near one of them riots. It wouldn't be half as much as this crime. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't. Instead of letting us when we wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like how America could go cross country, save another motherfucker's culture, but they'll stay here and fuck our culture off all goddamn day long. You know what I'm saying? Everybody and their mama, you asked me to tell you what they did. The Panthers, what they plan was to do was for black people to do for themselves. And they felt like not hate white people, but just be more black. If we all just stop mixed racing, stop interracial marriaging and all of that bullshit, just stay amongst our own families, we'll promote some kind of black love between man and woman. We'll have more kids. And we'll have more kids, we'll have a bigger population, you know what I'm saying? And if we own the businesses for our populations, then we'll have more money. If we have money, then we have power. If we have power, then we have land. If we have land, then we are people. You know what I'm saying? Then we, you know what I'm saying, got some kind of power in this country. But so they saw that COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program set up by J. Edgar Hoover, saw that the Panthers were doing a damn good job because all over the country they got this buzz, similar to how Thug Life is.
Drug life?
Thug Life.
Thug life.
Yeah. So now the Panthers got everybody talking about the Panthers, and we want to be free, and we want decent housing, and talking good, not just bitch hole, you know, straight good. And they start infiltrating. Now, why would they do this to a young black organization? And why would you not think they would do it to me? They infiltrated them, meaning they got people to say that they were Panthers, they joined the Panthers, and they would start the ruckus. Like, say, let's go shoot up the Botanical Gardens or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And do it in the name of the Panthers, but it's a cop. You know what I'm saying? And everybody think it's the Panthers because he's dressed like a Panther. You know what I'm saying? And he's screaming the Panthers, but he's a cop. He's been sent by the FBI. They got papers to document this shit. You know what I'm saying? And straight up, where Fred Hampton is laying in his bed, they hire his bodyguard to give them a floor plan of this man's house. A floor plan of this man's house. This is what they did to Saddam Hussein. A floor plan of this motherfucker's house. The police is doing this. Had the police raid this shit in the middle of the night. Nobody asked shit, just shoot. This man died in his sleep. You know what I'm saying? And they knew where his bed was. You gonna tell me that the police could not get that man? You think you think I can't read? You know what I'm saying? They asked me why I write this shit. You think I can't read? You think I don't know what went down?
So do you, in terms of you feel that you're a product of that, or
I'm a product of a society that will openly tell me that my life isn't worth anything.
So they told me to watch my language. Fuck that.
I live thug life and let the money come to me, cause they can never take the game from a young G. I'm getting money.
I mean, it was cool because I got a chance to speak to young black males all over the country about this new idea called thug life, which is a new kind of black power.
And when I say thug life, I mean that shit. Cause these white folks see us as thugs. I don't care what y'all think. I don't care if you think you a lawyer, if you a man, if you an African American, if you whatever the fuck you think you are. We thugs and niggas to these motherfuckers. You know? And until we own some shit, I'ma call it like it is. How you gonna be a man and we starving? You know? And you can walk by 5 different houses, ain't a man in either one of them motherfuckers. How we gonna be a man? How we gonna be African Americans? We out here dying. We thugs and we niggas until we set this shit right. Trust me when I tell you that shit.
Young black males out there identify with thug life, but I couldn't handle it. I could handle it, but not right away.
Mr. Shakur, can we get a comment from you at all?
Hell no. Thug life.
No,
Thug life. Thug life. That's my comment.
What's that mean? I don't
This
understand.
is yours.
What did happen?
Thug life. Imagine you have 14,000 people ready to do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? When you have all over the country people waiting to hear what you want to do. All of a sudden, I got people in the penitentiary, big-time OG criminals, calling me, telling me they want me to lead their movement. I mean, I'm gonna have a problem. This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme, gimme, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business, you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme, 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 push, 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 step, 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 crush, crush, crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, you know, I feel like, instead of us just being like, slavery's bad, slavery's down, bad whitey, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, I mean, we've been slighted. And we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we're past that. But we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here, we have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You know, you dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, you know, everybody need a little help on their way to being, you know, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something and they to be independent. No independent person just grew up and was born independent. You worked and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity and struggle, and then you became independent. And we have to teach that and instill that. And why is it that they want to do that? I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then he need to help them. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it need to be real. And it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish. When God punishes you. Because I feel like, you know, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for $36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, quadruple billion dollars, and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants.
We say to people that say, well, they earned it. Now you go out and you're earning it.
If they earned it, then I think that that's good, and I think that they deserve it. But even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter or a dollar. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. But, I mean, you got. You understand? And we all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't got don't mean he was bad. Or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy, or a drug addict, or none of that. It just means he don't got. And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million. And this person has nothing, and you can sleep. You can still go to the movies about, I mean, and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians? By the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are. You know what I'm saying? And that bugs me. Not saying that when I'm never going to be rich, and you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's a struggle, and I think everybody deserves. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary. And it takes to do something out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that if we just said, okay, I got an idea. No more porno buildings. You know what I'm saying? Let's build houses. Or no more polo games. Let's build houses for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Or, look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion. But can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole nine. That's not fair to me.
You know, people wonder if Tupac was targeted because of his bloodline.
No, hold on 1 second. Like you pulling on the cord.
Am I pulling on the cord? Sorry about that. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. The question comes up of, why Tupac was targeted. And was it because he was famous and, because he was swagger and arrogant? Was it because of his bloodline? My answer to that question is something that Tupac said to me. And I am witness to this, and people can do with this what they will. I visited Tupac when he was, among our many visits, I had gone to see him in Bellevue Hospital when he was in the prison ward. And this is after he had been convicted, but before he went upstate. And he came out, and I was a paralegal working with Brother Talif Warren. I was working as his paralegal. So I was able to meet him one-on-one in the attorney visiting room. And he limped a little bit, but he looked good, and he embraced me. And he said, Uncle Jamal, before you start, because sometimes I would just kind of go in, right? He says, man, I have to tell you a story. He said, there's a guy in the back in the prison ward, a young brother. They brought him from upstate. He had to get a back operation. And he sees me, and he goes crazy. He goes, oh, man, I can't believe it, dog. Tupac, you here, man. I love you, dog. You my hero. And Tupac said, time out, bro. Why am I your hero? And the young brother was like, oh, man, come on, Pac, don't be playing, man. You be getting paid. You got all the women. You be shooting at the police. And Pac said, time out. If that's why I'm your hero, then I don't need to be your hero. And he said, Uncle Jamal, I realized something. He said, they're going to kill me. He said, they have to kill me because I'm a Shakur. My choice is, do I go out like Tony Montana for Scarface, or do I go out like Malcolm X? And I want to go out like Malcolm X. Now, of course, my response is what a Godfather's response would be. Pac, you're not going to die. Let's not think about that. Let's claim life. Let's do whatever. And Pac would listen politely. He says, I hear you, but nevertheless, here's what I want to do. And this is when he began to lay out his vision, of these community centers, of doing more film, because music is, they're just going to rob you. Film, you get to make a statement and keep the money. He also talked about the fact that he was going to stop getting high. He said, because I smoked a lot. When I wasn't smoking, I was drinking. When I wasn't drinking, I was going to smoke. And I said, Pac, how are you going to do what we're going to do with that? He says, one day at a time, sobriety, And so, and I remember coming home being so elated. And I remember sharing this with Joyce about the space that Tupac was in. And then I know from my own experiences that prison can be a transformative space. I've served close to 9.5 years in prison. And in prison, I earned a GED, 2 college degrees, and graduated from KU, University of Kansas, with top honors, summa cum laude. That's where I became a poet. That's where I became a writer. I formed a theater company, and I knew I wanted to use arts and activism, and I was so elated about that. And then people may say, well, if that's the case, then what happened? Well, I wasn't the only person that Tupac shared this vision with. And there were other people that he went and shared this vision with and went, oh, okay, so getting high is a problem, right? And so I believe that, and I know that, when he got out, that when he got into the car on the way to the airport, Suge Knight was like, man, here, have a drink, here's a blunt. Now, if someone is telling you that here's the track that I want to be on, and then I realize that for me, part of the problem is that I shouldn't be getting high, I shouldn't be smoking weed. And then you go like, yeah, bro, come on, just take this hit to celebrate. Right away, it's manipulation and a different agenda. And so I think that there are people, Suge Knight and other people, that took those things and just go like, okay, We don't want him thinking clearly. We do want him to, to be moving. But I do want to say that even as things progress, Tupac was able to take a step back in his own life. And toward the end of his life, and that's when he did the One Nation Project. That's when he recorded a lot of songs. Now, did he record so many songs because he believed he was going to die? I actually believe he recorded those many songs because he believed he was going to live. Because of the bond with his mother, because of his relationship with Kidada. I think he wanted to satisfy his contract and just go, I promise you this many albums, here you go. I'm going to build this company, I'm going to do that. So I do believe that that moment changed. But yes, I think he was targeted because he was a Shakur, and because they know connected with that name was not just the legacy, but the activism and the ability to organize millions. That he had millions of ears that was listening to him around the world. Whenever you do that, and then he began to go, see, the other thing too, for just a moment, the Code of Thug Life is a revolutionary document. And if you don't know about the code, please, have our, the people that are watching this or listening to this, go online and look at Tupac's Code of Thug Life. He began to broker the peace between these gangs and just begin to return to some values. It wasn't exactly the 10-point program of the Black Panther Party, but it was rooted in the same thing that I've been talking about in the Black Panther Party, that love for the community. Let's stop shooting at each other. Let's not snitch on each other. Let's not deal drugs in the hood. This is revolutionary if gangs are allowed to flourish because they're doing the job of the oppressor and in terms of eliminating young black men. That's what neocolonialism is. I don't have to come in as the oppressor in my uniform, with my army, with my people who look different, and kill you and lock you up. What I can do is create a psychological climate of self-hatred. I can pour in the guns and pour in the drugs and step back and let you do it to yourselves. And nobody's seeing where it's really coming from. So when you introduce something like the Code of Thug Life into that, that's revolutionary. And so Fred Hampton got killed in Chicago for the same thing. He had taken the Young Lords, the toughest, best organized, largest street gang, Puerto Rican street gang in Chicago, and helped them become a revolutionary organization called the Young Lords Party. And then he's talking to the Egyptian lords, he's talking to the Peastone Rangers, and Chicago cops are going like, wait a minute, there's 30 or 40,000 of us and 200,000 of them? This organizer has got to go. Can I say one more to that point? Sure, please. And when you look at the FBI's counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, and I don't think you can talk even in celebratory moments, when we talk about the Black Panther Party, and when we talk about the Shakur family, who were targets of COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO stands for Counterintelligence Program. And it was organized by J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI. And it went beyond just gathering intelligence. It was counterintelligence where you're going in, infiltrating organizations, creating false evidence, framing people up, getting people arrested, killed, creating a situation where you don't have to get your hands dirty. What the FBI would do in those cases is start wars that led to, for example, the Chicago police murdering Fred Hampton. They gave them the intelligence, they gave them the will, they said you better do a preemptive strike, and he's your target. All that intelligence came from the FBI. But there was also intelligence that came from the FBI that caused a terrible split within the Black Panther Party. And it led to a war within the Black Panther Party. These brave women and men who are on the front lines against the cops in the middle of the night and on street corners and going without sleep so they could get up early to feed other people's kids, now are going at each other, and it was called East Coast, West Coast. Does that sound familiar?
Too familiar.
Too familiar. And so we talked about that even when Tupac was alive, what COINTELPRO was. And now more and more, as we reveal police documents, we see that some of these things were orchestrated and organized by the police. And if you keep tracing that DNA and those fingerprints, it will lead to the FBI and to other places. And so that underscores of, yes, I think he was targeted. And not only was he targeted because he was a Shakur, he was targeted by that same counterintelligence COINTELPRO kind of program.